Hello everyone, I'm Siniša Poznich, physiotherapist and a PNF instructor from Zagreb, from Croatia. I will talk about PNF concept today and the problem of the foot, and my topic is rehabilitation of the foot in a patient with C5 to C7, partial traumatic spinal cord injury, Asia D. A physiotherapeutic approach of PNF concept, and I will present a case study. It's about a 33 years old male, IT engineer that likes to ride a bike, skateboard, snowboard, hike mountains as his hobbies. And I'm mentioning that because that's important for motivation during rehabilitation. You will see later. He had an accident in September 2020 on a trampoline, and the consequence was a broken neck with a subsequent C5 to C7 spinal cord injury and transitory tetraplegia at that time. And during 3 months of rehabilitation, he managed to recover with a good left side and a right side Asia D. But the hand and the foot were still in Asia C right before we started to work to do rehabilitation together. He lives with a fiancée with no children yet in a flat on the fourth floor with an elevator. This is him jumping on a trampoline. That was not on the time of the injury, but just to let you have a vision what he was doing when he injured himself. The trampoline kicked him on the wall, and he fell on the neck and broke the neck. That's the X-ray after operation, and they stabilized from vertebrae from C5 to C7, and in this region he had a spinal cord injury. You can see no spinosuses, C5 and C6 broken. And I will show you now the treatment of his right foot. And you will see now how. So this is his weaker side. The whole side is weaker with the weakest point of the hand and the right foot. The whole left side is a good side. I started with irradiation procedure to irradiate from the good side into the weak leg and facilitating with this dorsiflexors and the whole chain of flexion, abduction, internal rotation. And you can see here the same, but just using direct approach, and he's now reinforcing here with while pushing into me, reinforcing this pattern of flexion, abduction, internal rotation. The goal is here dorsiflexion, tibialis anterior primarily. In supine position, I facilitated flexion, adduction, external rotation pattern with knee flexion again for dorsiflexors, and together with toes extensors. Toes were also weak as the foot, similar as the foot. And then the way back for plantar flexors and calf muscles, toes flexors too. And peroneus also, which is very important muscle for foot stability. And In another diagonal, flexion abduction, internal rotation with knee flexion, facilitating again dorsiflexors and peroneus muscle too, toes extensors, and the way back for plantar flexors for calf muscles. In a sideline position, that's the similar pattern like this one in a supine position, just in side lying, and I had here very good activation of peroneus again together with plantar flexors, and the way back in flexion for dorsiflexors. In quadruped position, similar muscles in extension pattern, activating plantar flexors and peroneus. Toes flexors too. In sitting position, I specifically activated peroneus, and peroneus controls this point of the base of the first metatarsal. And he was bringing this point down and squeezing this point, making the foot stable in three points of load of the heel, first metatarsal bone, and the fifth metatarsal bone, and by this creating the medial arch and also transversal arch for foot stability. And I was facilitating here, and this is for the stance phase of the gait, and this will be for the swing phase of the gait and the function of the foot in these phases. For swing, we have to have dorsiflexion, and also I was facilitating with dorsiflexion peroneus muscle in eversion. You will see here on the video how to facilitate foot stability. So 3 points of contact. He was leaning on the lateral side of the foot first, and by this keeping the load on the lateral side, he was bringing the medial point of the base of the first metatarsal down, squeezing it with peroneus muscle, and keeping the alignment of the hip, knee, and the foot in one line, and preventing the navicular bone and talus for collapsing down, and by this losing the stability of the medial arch. On the second video, second exercise for foot stability, and in here he was bringing the front points of the base of the first metatarsal and the fifth one closer to the heel, and similar like he was shrinking the foot, and by this creating the medial arch and also transversal arch. And I didn't allow him to compensate with toes. You will see one more time. You can see now here the arch creating and keeping. He was learning how to keep this position of the stable foot. As a progression of this specific foot stability, we started to put load on the right leg with the sit to stand exercise and keeping the foot on 3 points of contact stable. A similar going back from stand to sit. In another situation, facilitating the swing with the left leg, he was standing stable on the right foot, and the whole body was stable. Of course, when we do such a when I facilitate such a position he has to such activity, he has to have a good trunk control with abdominal muscles, and also good hip control from gluteal stability. And only if he has this central stability, he can start thinking about distal stability from the foot. So we practiced in previous treatments central core stability and the hip stability to be able to start to facilitate the foot stability and the foot control in general. So here I was using manual resistance for the left swing, and or either elastic band resistance. Similar exercise for right foot stability with facilitating flexion, abduction, internal rotation with knee flexion pattern, which is similar to going to the tub, into the tub, or bathtub, or going on the bicycle or on the motorcycle, while keeping this right foot stable on the ground. And then progressing from function exercises into activity exercises, Gait. So I facilitated the Gait with him. In a swing phase, we have dorsiflexors activation together with peroneal muscles. And then in stance phase, foot stability on a 3 points of contact, keeping the medial arch and transversal arch stable. At the beginning, he was compensating this stability a lot with toes flexion, but then he learned how to release that toes when the foot was stable, of course. Going backwards, again bringing first front 2 points down to the floor, and then the heel as a third point, and having a foot stable in this Gait way of the Gait. Sidewards Gait, bringing the foot in dorsiflexion eversion and in the swing, and then in stance keeping the foot stable on a 3 points, maintaining the arches. And then in braiding, keeping the right foot stable on the load, but he's not now bringing the foot either forward, neither backwards or sidewards, but in a crossed position of legs and keeping the stability. So these are different coordination exercises in Gait when he has to think about the foot stability, mobility in swing, and the foot stability in standing position. He liked to drive a skateboard, so I put him on a skateboard to practice stability in standing. 3 points of contact again. And then at the same time, he was practicing equilibrium reactions of the foot as a part of balance. So he was practicing stability of the foot, but also equilibrium reactions, which is a function of the foot, could be. And then as a progression, he had to come with the left foot on the skateboard. So the first video was just stability, and that was mobility on top of stability. And then a next progression is a skill. So driving skateboard. I was just contact guarding him for protection. Next activity, shooting a ball while having a load on the right leg and maintaining the foot stability on 3 points of contact, while shooting with the left with a good leg. Then doing the basketball, shooting on a basket while weight shifting on the front leg, which is the right leg, and having a good stabilization of the foot. Then playing a tennis with the front foot, with the front leg stable, and this is again mobility on top of stability. Then walking upstairs, first part swinging and bringing the foot in dorsiflexion E version, and the second part of going upstairs, foot stability during stance phase. Every step on every second step as repetition without repetition exercise for motor learning, and then walking downstairs, and he has to bring the forefoot down and then the heel down, forefoot down and then the heel down, and having the good foot stability in this situation. Running, he had to lean on the front 2 points of the forefoot, barely leaning on the heel or not at all, and running. Then so that until now that was activity, that was exercises on activity level, and now I progressed him into participation level. We went to the mountain for, let's say, 45 minutes hike, and he had to accommodate to a different environment, to different grounds like stairs, slippery surfaces, etc. And that was very motivating for him, because he used to hike mountains before. That was picture when we climbed at the end point. As a result, nowadays, after 6 months of rehabilitation, he can walk circa 4 kilometers. He can drive a car. He returned to work in May. He rides a bike, and by this he goes to work. He doesn't use a car for going to work, and then that was his habit also before the injury. And he totally re-socialized. He hangs around and plays board games with friends on regular basis. Just a couple of points I would like to emphasize concerning what I use of PNF philosophy in this case study. That was a positive approach. First, I started with something he was able to do from the good side, irradiating into the weaker side, directing the foot, of course. And then I was progressing from lower positions to higher positions, from function level of exercises to activity level, and then to participation level of exercises. We practice without any causing of pain or exhaustion. That was also positive. And on the functional approach, as PNF is, so you could see this progression from functioning to activity level. And I use ICF rehabilitation framework for the whole assessment and treatment. I mobilized his reserves. That was very active, intensive training, a lot of repetitions and different positions. He actively participated in his treatment. I used the whole body, not just his right foot, and his psychological and social perspective too. And I used motor learning and motor control principles. By motor learning, I mean from cognitive thinking on the movement to automatic at the end, and by motor control from mobility part and phases to stability, mobility on top of stability, up to the skill exercises. So that's typical for PNF, what we usually use in every treatment. And shortly, that was it about PNF connected with some case study about the foot. So if you will have some questions, you can ask when we will have a discussion. And for now, greetings from Croatia. Bye-bye.